Hi, it's Jennifer Harding Marlin, a citizenship by investment attorney and consultant. Today's video is going to talk about the Nauru Citizenship by Investment Program. The program's been in operation now for approximately a year and a half, and I'm an authorized agent for the program. We've been helping a number of clients with their applications. There was a deadline for 30th of June 2026 where there was a limited time offer, which has now been extended until the end of the year. So I'll get more into that and more into details about the program in a little bit. But I thought it'd be interesting because a lot of people don't know that much about Nauru to talk a little bit more about the country and the history of the country as well as the development of the program. So Nauru is located in the Central Pacific. So you may be familiar with the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment Program, which is another program that we help with. But Vanuatu is the third smallest country in the world and it is the smallest republic. It's approximately 21 square kilometers. I was really hoping. I tend to visit, and I've visited almost every single citizenship by investment country in the world. I think it's really important to have on the grounds experience and to be able to talk about the program. And I was supposed to go to Nauru, but I got sick and therefore wasn't able to go. But I have been to Vanuatu, which is nearby. But anyways, it's 21 square kilometers, and I was hoping to walk around the country. So if you are interested, you can look at YouTube videos of people that are walking around the country. So I thought that this was something interesting to do and then to be able to interact with locals and see how the citizenship program has been impacting them. So I do hope to go to Nauru. Hopefully, it'll probably have to be in 2027, but I do hope to visit in person soon. So the country doesn't really have a capital, but a lot of the everything is around the Yaren district. Despite its small size, it is a sovereign country. It has its own government, its own citizenship laws and passport. The island is surrounded by coral reefs and it has a really narrow coastal area where most of the population lives along the coast. So the interior of the country has been significantly impacted by phosphate. So there was phosphate mining, which played an important role in the economic and modern history of the country. So I've written down some notes, which I'll read because I don't want to get the history of the country incorrect. It's a country that I had, prior to being in the citizenship by investment industry, I did not know very much about. So it's been inhabited for about 3,000 years. Its communities developed around fishing, agriculture, and local trade, and it had cultural influences to both Micronesia and Polynesian traditions. European contact was more so in the 19th century, and during World War I, Australian forces took control of Nauru. The island was subsequently administered by Australia, New Zealand, and then the United Kingdom. And Nauru, during the Second World War, was occupied by Japan. And after the war, like many people that had left Nauru actually ended up returning to Nauru. And on the 31st of January of 1968, Nauru became an independent republic. Phosphate revenues initially made the country extremely wealthy relative to the population. However, extensive mining over time damaged the island's interior and created long-term environmental and economic challenges for people. So Nauru, part of the Citizenship by Investment Program, is to diversify the economy and address the effects of environmental degradation and also climate change. So a lot of countries in the South Pacific are impacted by climate change. So the official name of the Nauru Citizenship by Investment Program is the Nauru Economic and Resilient Citizenship Program, the ECRCP. So it allows qualifying applicants to make a non-refundable donation contribution to the country, the National Treasury Fund, and in turn get citizenship and a passport of the country. It's just, again, to support, like many citizenship by investment programs around the world, to support national development, infrastructure, renewable energy, economic diversification, whether it's healthcare, education, work programs, amongst many, many other projects that are for the national interest. And so who may be interested in Nauru citizenship? It's a program, it's not for everyone, but people that are looking to get a citizenship of a neutral country, of a small country, the ability to include qualifying members. A lot of the times Nauru can accept applicants that may be close to other citizenship by investment programs. There's no physical presence requirement. They do recognize dual citizenship. The process can be done 100% remotely, so you don't have to go there. And the typical, it has relatively quick, but I anticipate that the timeline will be longer due to the influx of files for Nauru citizenship. But it does serve a neutral citizen Neutral citizenship, it does have limited visa-free travel when compared to other programs. However, it can still be, if you're just looking to obtain a second citizenship of a neutral country, this could be it. So who can apply? You can be, the main applicant has to be above the age of 18. You can include spouse, dependent children. If they're between 18 and 30, they have to be financially dependent on the main applicant or spouse. There's a potential for parents or unmarried siblings, depending on age and depending on specific requirements. So it's always best, if you're going to be applying as a family, to outline your family composition, the ages, and the relationship to you, and whether or not they're financially dependent on you or not. And then we can assess, because we certainly wouldn't want to waste your time or your money helping with Nauru citizenship if the outcome can't be positive. And on all our clients, we do extensive background checks before we onboard the client to ensure and to hopefully screen out any sort of issue in advance. We want you to have a positive outcome, obviously. So getting into costs. So before, the costs were about $115,000 US for a single applicant. However, they have lowered the price point to US $90,000. So they reduced the price by approximately $25,000 for a single applicant. Again, there's application fees, due diligence fees, passport fees, and other fees that are added on top. So people advertising the US $90,000 price point, there are other costs in addition to that, especially if you're going to be including multiple family members. If you have family members that are over 16, that's typically when they can incur more due diligence fees as a result of being 16 or over. So again, depending on your family composition, we do have a new feature on our website, a cost calculator, which can give you a brief overview. We always confirm all the costs in the official engagement letter. We want to make sure it's clear on all the costs and the timeline for payment. So file opening, file submission, and then file approval. And only upon approval, typically, do you need to make the large investment contribution. So just to talk a little bit more about the documentation requirements for Nauru, in approximately June, they changed the requirement where we no longer have to submit the physical file and send it to the Citizenship by Investment Unit abroad. And instead, that all the documents can be completed online, which is really interesting and has saved a lot of time, because when you have to collate documents from multiple different countries to get the physical file, collate the file, make sure everything's organized and prepared, a lot of times it's a lot easier to do it online. So typically you need a passport, a national ID like a driver's license. You need a marriage certificate or divorce certificate where applicable, legal name change documents if you change your name, adoption or custody documents if that's applicable to you. You'll need recent high resolution photographs of you. You'll need proof of your address, such as utility bill. You need proof of source of funds, so bank statements, bank reference letter, a potential professional reference letter, company documents, etc. And we provide a really specific checklist specific to your family. Oftentimes it depends on the country where you're living, the country of your citizenship, given your background as well, what that will entail. They are quite picky on how the application is prepared, so it'd be really important to do everything correctly, which we try our best to help you with everything. Unfortunately, with some citizenship by investment programs, the applicant themselves does need to do quite a bit of documents. Like, we don't have access to your bank statements, we don't have access to bank reference letter, professional reference letter if it's needed for the particular program that you are doing. Apply for the police clearance certificate. Depending on your country, that's something that you would have to do yourself, and perhaps you're the only person that's able to get your company documents. So there is a lot of both work on both ends, and we really try to facilitate communication. We're not big on marketing because we really try to prioritize our current clients and making sure that everyone has success. So this is just a little bit of an overview. We do eligibility checks for Nauru citizenship. It is not the most popular option that we assist with, but we're seeing an increasing number of people selecting Nauru specifically for, I think, because of its neutrality. The fact that it's open to a lot of nationalities, and that it's a very small country and people want to make a big impact for the country. So if you have any further questions, you can reach out to me or post questions in the description below, and I'd be happy, sorry, not in the description below, but in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. All the best. Bye for now.